Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Welcome to the Pension Fund Update conference call. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question-and-answer session. Instructions will be given at that time. If you should require assistance during the call, please press star then 0. This conference is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to your host, Mr. Jim Hamlet. Please go ahead.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm delighted that you have joined us today for this year-end report. For the next hour, I will be your host for the question-and-answer session. As is our custom, I have several of my colleagues sitting with me today who will be called upon in the event that they may best be prepared to answer your question. In particular, I would introduce Duncan Draper, our Vice President, Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer, David Stone, our Vice President, Chief Investment Officer, Sandra Michael Bowers, our Vice President for Member Services, and Don Fleming, our Corporate Secretary and Director of HR. Michael Porter, our Director of Health Services, and Eugene Fisher are both out on assignment today, but I understand that they are both online and will be available to respond to questions in the event that they might be best suited to do so. As scheduled or as indicated earlier, this session is scheduled for 1 hour and is being recorded and will be posted on the Pension Fund website early next week. If we run out of time and your question has not been answered, you may want to join us for the next session, which will begin this evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or if you're not able to ask your question or have questions specific to your situation, you can email us at pfcc1@pensionfund.org. Please keep in mind this is a public forum, and as such, it is important that you do not ask us to discuss questions specific to your accounts. We do not want to reference anything that would violate your personal privacy for your accounts or your situation. We will open for questions in just a moment, but first I would like to make a few other comments. The investment markets in 2014 were somewhat challenging. All of the news of record highs seemed to mask market strains in many investment sectors. Major gains were largely limited to what we would call large growth-oriented organizations. The international equity, fixed income, both domestic and foreign, and other markets proved to be challenging sectors last year. So our overall return was far more modest in 2014 than in prior years. That said, I'm delighted to report that we expect to deliver quarterly statements within the first 2 weeks of April that reflect the impact of an action by our Board of Directors to grant good experience credits of 3.5% for tax-deferred accounts, 4% for benefit accumulation accounts, 2% for Roth IRA, and 3% for legacy IRA accounts that were all active on December 31 last year. The good experience credits are based upon the average principal balance of each account in 2014. Good experience credits will be added to the principal balance of accounts on March 31 of this year. For those of you who are pension plan members, the annual statement of pensions will be sent out later in April. Your statement will reflect the action of our Board of Directors to grant a 3.5% special apportionment based upon the accrued pension credits as of December 31, 2014, or your actual pension on that date. Special apportionments will be added to pension accounts as of July 1, 2015. Following these two postings, either on March 31 or July 1, you will be able to access your updated account information provided you have signed up for My Pension Fund through our website. I should remind you that Pension Fund also launched its traditional IRA program in February to complement the Roth program that has been available for a couple of years. We are excited to add this program to our stable of pension and retirement savings options to serve you. Accounts may be opened with new contributions or by rollover or transfer from another account. Also, watch for an announcement later this spring about the reactivation of the benefit accumulation account program in the months to come. I hope that you are planning to attend the General Assembly in Columbus this July. If so, please be sure to check out our website regarding the time and place of the Pension Fund breakfasts and other activities. We look forward to seeing you there. Now, let's open up for questions. Operator?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, please press star, then 1 on your touch-tone phone. A voice prompt on your phone line will indicate when your line has been opened. You may remove yourself from the queue at any time by pressing the star key, followed by the digit 2. If you are using a speakerphone, please pick up the handset before pressing the corresponding digits. Once again, please press star 1 at this time. And again, please press star 1 to ask a question. There are no questions at this time.
Seems as though I answered all their questions.
That is star 1 again to ask a question. We'll go to our first question. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
What was the total return of the pension fund for 2014?
I believe that the total return on all assets for our mixed fund was 4.2%.
Thank you.
We'll go to our next question. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yes, I have a question about clarification on deposits and withdrawals from the Benefit Accumulation Fund. Are those to be sent to Detroit?
We utilize a lockbox with our bank, and deposits are sent to Detroit. Requests for withdrawals can be sent directly to us at our office here in Indianapolis.
I see. All right. Thank you.
And callers, if you would please tell us your name and where you're from, if that would be helpful.
Again, it is star 1 if you have a question. And there are no questions at this time. We have a question in the queue now. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Caller, your line is open. And we have no response. As a reminder, if you have a question, please press star 1 at this time. We'll take our next question. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Thad Allen, Regional Minister and President for the Christian Church in West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Not so much a question, but perhaps a word of thanks for the good work of the pension fund, for our pensioners, those who have served in the church, but also those ministers who have participated in Ministerial Relief Fund. On behalf of the church, a word of thanks.
Thank you.
And there are no other questions in the queue at this time. And as a quick reminder, it is star 1 to ask a question. And please announce your name. We'll take our next question. Please go ahead.
Hello, this is Roger Heimer. I may have another more detailed sort of question later, but those percentages went by us kind of fast, and I see there's a very different rate of extra benefit for TDABA, Roth, and Legacy IRA. And I didn't get Legacy IRA, number one. And secondly, then, what accounts for the difference in the percentage increment?
Well, let me give you the rates, and then I will ask our CFO to respond to the second question. The good experience credits were 3.5% for tax-deferred accounts, 4% for benefit accumulation accounts, 2% for the Roth IRA account, which is the new program. And I misspoke on the legacy IRA. It is 2.5% on the legacy IRA. Duncan?
Yes. It's an excellent question, by the way, and one that I certainly understand, given that in the past our good experience credits pretty much mirrored across all of our programs. We have moved into an environment, however, where each program stands alone, if you will, and if that makes some sense. What I'm basically saying, each program has its own reserves, and therefore, based upon the activity in the account, the account growth, the program growth, or decline, whatever that case is, the reserves are set specifically for that fund. That has created an environment now that each fund will, based upon a consistent policy by the Board of Directors relative to how we govern the granting of good experience credits, there will be some variability going forward. The returns were essentially the same for most of our programs. The BA account fund earned slightly higher. So that is, in essence, what went on, but it's really just an indication of where a reserve program is at any point in time or at the end of the year based upon the actual program fund overall in terms of where that's at.
Roger, Jim Hamlin again. I might add that in the case of the BA account program, and two things to take into account. One, we actually paid a lower rate of return as a base rate on the BA account than we did on TDRA. And so we had a bit more in reserve to provide for that.
Yeah, I think I'm pleased to hear that, because my reaction when I saw that the differential between TDA and BA interest rates was, it sounded as though that was projected on the basis of a lot of people putting money in and drawing money out of the BA account like a demand account, and I don't think it functions for most of us like a demand account. And therefore, I'm pleased that you did have the better experience on that. I guess that the other question that remains is it's a little bit of a shock to see that there's a 1% difference between TDA and legacy IRAs, which I always thought were almost identical, but they just were invested in different ways.
That is correct. The reserve structure is a little different. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That's understandable. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
Once again, please press star 1 at this time if you have a question. There are no questions in the queue at this time.
Okay. Let's give a moment to see if another question will arise.
We have a couple questions in the queue now.
Okay.
Caller, your line is open. Please state your name and go ahead with your question.
Jim, this Lewis Martin. Did I understand right that the TDA 3.5, the ABA 4 plan is for this present quarter?
No, that these are the good experience credits that will be added in addition to the interest rates.
Okay, and that'll be we'll get that in April. Is that right?
You'll get that March 31.
Yeah, March 31. Okay, and so that's the accumulation or the over and above.
That's right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
We'll go to our next question. Caller, your line is open. Please state your name and go ahead with your question.
My name is Leon Riley in Indianapolis, and I'm tardy in joining this conversation, so you may already have touched on this.
Okay.
But you may or may not be familiar. The pension funds stopped making Indiana state withholding tax on my account in July of 2013. No, I think it was 2013. Year and a half.
Leon?
At any rate, the question is, what are you going to do about that, and who's going to pay the penalty that is now due?
Well, that's getting into your personal issue, but I will answer it this way. We will call you back with the resolution and the answer. If there are any penalties, of course, we would pay those penalties.
Okay, that's reassuring. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jim.
But we will call you back after the call.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's star 1 if you have a question.
Benefit.
We have a question in the queue. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Lewis Martin, Jim. I forgot to ask you, is there going to be a raise in our pension plan this year, or will there not be?
There will be a special apportionment applied, Lewis, on July 1 of 3.5%.
3.5. Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
And again, as a reminder, it is star 1 to ask a question. There are no questions in the queue.
Let's give another minute.
And here we go. We do have a question now. Caller, your line is open. Please go ahead.
Yes, this is Roger Heimer again. I thought there might be a lot more questions out there, so I have a couple of them that I was waiting to present. One is regarding wanting to know where I could get, beside online, whether there is a print version available somewhere of the old annual tax manual. My tax accountant, they said he'd like to have one of those, and I just find the print version so much more usable. Is it available if I write or call into some other source to get it?
Hi, Roger. This is Dawn Fleming. And yes, if you send an email to PFCC 1, they will be happy to print that tax guide and send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, that seems kind of the long way around. But, it's stuff like, did the rate for mileage for professional miles change mid-year? And you can look so easily in a little booklet, and to try for me to negotiate a website to try to find that. I'll get an email into you then.
Well, I'll be sure that we send it out to you today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The other thing that very few of us who are ministerial couples ran into this year was what they called a system problem. That meant or I guess my wife's end of the year required distributions were sent to another account, and we honestly had no idea that was what was happening for about a month. It took a month and a half to resolve it and get the money back into the VA account where normally would have been transferred. So that's just I'm sorry, but it's a little complaint about whoever was in charge of setting up that system, because the system gets blamed, but there was somebody behind it who didn't understand that there's actually a worry and a financial harm that comes to our accounts when those things happen. And I guess that what I would ask at the very least is, if something unusual like that happens, that we get phone, email, or print notice that you've had to take some unusual action that doesn't correspond to what we've had in the past.
Roger, you look to me for that final response. My apologies for the error on our part. We will, and we have addressed most of the issues. I won't say that we are 100%, but we're getting close. And you have my deepest apology. If you were harmed financially, please show me how that was true, and we will see what we can make you whole.
Yeah, I have taken it through my little handheld computer, and I won't mention it now, but I will. Thank you for the offer. I will get that to you. Thank you.
But that should be done on offline, not in this call.
Right. Thank you very much.
And again, my apologies if you were harmed in any way.
Thank you.
Again, it is star 1 to ask a question. There are no questions in the queue at this time.
Let's give one more minute.
There are no questions in the queue at this time.
Okay. Then let me make a final comment. I want to thank all of you who have offered questions and those others who are on the call just as listeners. I trust we've responded in a manner that is helpful. Our goal is always to care for resources entrusted to us in a prudent and thoughtful manner, taking care to address the unique requirements and risks associated with each program. If we have erred and where we have erred, please accept our deep apology. We will be working with you to see that is completely dealt with. Throughout the process, though, I can say that no one has lost a penny of account value. And from that perspective, we feel good that we have protected folks' funds, as we have done historically. Know that all of us, staff and directors alike, will continue to focus all of our energy towards maintaining the pension fund's financial strength, even as we seek to serve more effectively and broadly you and others within the life of the church. We thank you for the privilege of serving and for your interest today. We will schedule another forum when we believe we have important information to share. Until then, please call us with any further questions you may have. It is our great honor to serve you. Until next time, good day.
That concludes our conference for today. Thank you for your participation and for using AT&T teleconference service. You may now disconnect.